Behold and welcome. My name is Walker Stipe. And today I have funny hair. Today we are talking about something a little spicy, which requires a defense. We're starting defensively. No, you have things to look forward to. We're gonna get spicy. So I'm big on empathy. The next one of the next videos coming out is getting deep into that with the help of one of the greatest humans of all time, Stuart Russell, perhaps the most adult, responsible human being ever. I don't know, maybe. About empathy, a very important thing which we all like and think sounds nice, but the implications of willing to be empathetic with anybody, whether that be a demon or a god or a country, are pretty heavy. They're pretty heavy, but we keep to our principles. Hashtag practice what you preach, etc. So here's a video I did on that. If you want to get deep into that with some AI. United States of America is a place. I was born here. I was raised here. I live here. That's about it. I don't have much more else to say on it than that. Wall Street Journal. I don't know. I don't care. How can government, the U.S. government, attract the AI talent it needs? What an interesting question. Look at me in my fancy suit talking about interesting things and being an intellectual. See my suit? It's a suit. It's an H.P. Lovecraft shirt. You see it? It's got a little tentacle. Hashtag Japan. We'll mention them briefly at the end. All right, so fuck these people. Fuck these people. Why? They make you pay to read their fucking shitty article. It's not a good article, but it's also the best that exists, which is horrifying and terrifying, okay? How does government, the U.S. government, attract the AI talent? The most important subject, not only according to me, the AI guy, but also according to Vladimir Putin, shirtless bear man, and Xi Jinping, and just the Chinese Communist Party. Spoiler alert. You know, they are dead set, like, this is the most important thing. Microsoft is an AI company. Google is an AI company, etc., etc. You're getting the picture, okay? So that's what everyone with a brain is doing. The most powerful, wealthy institution of all time, which spends so much money on their military every year that the money they spend on their police force alone is more than all but 2 countries spend on their total military. It's a lot. Whatever the numbers are, I'm not... Fact check yourself. It's a lot. A lot. So that institution, which, you know, you spend money on, you know, your military, it's like a, you know, your 401k or retirement, you know, you're being responsible. But you're not investing in the most important thing ever. And this article, I cannot, and I refuse to pay. They get 3 fancy people, Director of National Security, on AI, a person from Carnegie Mellon, the Dean, Carnegie Mellon, great school, for AI in particular, not just in a general sense. Like Harvard, what AI are they doing? I'm not super aware. Could be missing things, but they're not on all the headlines. Megan McConnell, sounds like a famous person. Advises public sex. She does things. They're famous people. I will have to summarize because I can't get access to the article. Don't know how I could the first time. Whatever. Essentially, the U.S. government refuses, according to these 3 people, the United States of America refuses to create careers in artificial intelligence in the United States. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is moving heaven and earth to do everything they can to get their AI shit together. Yeah, the U.S. just doesn't give a shit. I might talk more on that, but well, here's a little clip from our president-to-be, Crystal. Told you we'd get back to her.
Material might will be water.
For years and generations, wars have been fought over oil. In a short matter of time, they will be fought over water.
So, to the point that, well, you know, a lot of the wars have been fought over oil. Have they? Oh, well, that's Well, that's news. Interesting. Not the point. And reference to the water war thing, have you heard of our good friend nuclear fusion? It's literally exactly what the sun does, and it solves the food crisis, it solves the climate crisis, and it solves the water crisis, because then you can just desalinate water, because you have, nearest makes no difference in this context, more energy than you would ever need for the current human scale we exist on. We'll get into Dyson spheres at some point. Absolutely. Hello, Isaac Arthur, and friends. So, United States have a lot of issues, but a lot of nice things about them too, right? Freedom or something. However, they've absolutely been one of the top proponents of oil and fossil fuels in this thing, which, for a time, we didn't know any better. That was a long, long time ago. It was a long time ago. And I don't really care about why or blaming people. It's not interesting. It's not productive. However, we should recognize that as far as if we want to characterize institutions, such as the United States, by how their actions have affected the outcome, which is how I think we should do most decision making, we should reference just the particulate matter, the little PM, from burning fossil fuels kills around 8.7 million people every year. This was in 2018. As well as, that's about 1/5 of people, okay, in the United States, literally fighting wars over oil, as stated by our president-elect-to-be. It's a joke, calm down. And then, in addition to that, fun fact, the planet is like the ecology is currently crumbling, like a Jenga tower. It's not just temperature, it's also the incredibly diverse and way beyond any sort of computational method that humanity has access to of all the different life forms on Earth that we're making go extinct. So, that's a thing that has happened largely to due to the United States' actions on fossil fuels and oil and these things. So, there's that. Here's just another reference. You can actually read this. This is about getting AI talent in the U.S. Same subject. There's good news, not really. The bad news is that two trends are placing this U.S. strength and student retention at risk. They talk about immigration, which is there, and there's national security stuff. We get it. But other countries are investing heavily in AI talent attraction and retention, pumping money into their domestic AI ecosystems, and opening up their immigration. The United States rely on its status, and that status is kind of going away. But the main thing is that other countries are pumping money into their domestic AI ecosystems, and the U.S. is not doing that. Follow the money. And we have no... Why? Why? Incompetence, conspiracy, idiots. I don't care. Yeah. What the fuck? So, back to China. Less wealthy. Less wealthy. If anyone tries to normalize for population doesn't fucking matter. It's who has the biggest boot. Back to Kamala and oil wars. All right? Okay. In this context, population does matter for many things, but not so much when it comes to police state, global cartel state. I don't know. So here's an article which is great and written by a Chris Dossman. So Chris Dossman wrote this: 5 things I learned teaching deep learning in China. Oh, I guess that's him. Okay. So we're not going to go into this more than necessary, other than the kind of point we're trying to get across is that China is getting their shit together on this. So last year, 20 AI workshops. He's teaching people, you get it. 5 things. Number 1, Chinese engineers have serious talent and know-how. I guess we'll just read the headlines and you can read further if you'd like. I'm trying to keep this succinct. The amount of data available for training is enormous. This is a big one. And this we do want to go into. If AI is the new electricity, then data is the coal that fuels the power plants. Well said, back to fossil fuels. Why the fuck not? This is unfortunately the case. I think and read a lot about data augmentation and these things. Maybe there's a way that we don't have to be so data hungry. Maybe, but there is not really anything showing that to be the case. We want it to be. We're trying to figure it out, but you need data. It is the black gold of the AI future. And the US is doing a lot to prevent that, which many good reasons for that. Not to pretend like there aren't, such as national security. Get TikTok the fuck out of the US. Get it out. I don't have an opinion. These regulations are to help the consumer and national security, but they severely hamper what kind of AI research people like Jan LeCun at Facebook can do. Okay? Meanwhile, China has very few restrictions, aka negative restrictions on privacy and this sort of thing. And they also have a larger data set, more than they're the most populous country of all time. It's fun to be able to say of all time just because we're in the modern age, but you can. It's fair. So that's a big, meaningful step up that that country, that institution, the Chinese Communist Party, has currently. Research takes a backseat to implementation. This is interesting. This is very wild to me, because I don't know, the fun new thing. I'm very personally more excited about the research direction of things rather than that of implementation. Someone else will do that at some boring company with that sort of thing. But apparently there's a bit more emphasis on let's get it working rather than let's try crazy random shit. Maybe that's an American kind of thing. There is a lot of creativity that goes on here. Fuzzy. We've mentioned this previously, but they are very, very serious about this. They're not. There's no fakery here. They're investing massive amounts of money and massive amounts of surveillance system. Xinjiang. That's the guy. Xinjiang. There's 400,000 or so. Damn it! Do I have to find the source now? DJI drones. Which I have one of those, actually. They work very well. They have a lot of those, and facial recognition is everywhere. It's everywhere. So that's they're not kidding. They're not kidding, and they really want to. China is kind of getting away from the stealing phase, right? They've done a lot of intellectual property theft. We are aware. I might talk about that at some point on self-cannibalization, which is kind of the world's what we've been doing for the past few years. But they're sort of getting away from that a bit, it seems, and they're publishing. Let me see. Their AI industry has grown 67% of the past year and produced more patents and research papers than in the U.S. That's not stealing. That's creating. We like creating here. Whole hell of a lot, sometimes from nothing. It's real numbers. So there's still a long way to go for information to disseminate. A very good point. Very good point. In part, just we don't really know what's going on in China to some extent, particularly with military-industrial complexes and the like. But I guess language is also a big barrier. I don't know Mandarin, and maybe I should. Which is the question. It's a rhetorical question. Please, anybody in the U.S. military or government, whatever, don't come after me. Still, hurrah, freedom. Very pro-freedom. But also recognizes that we do need to work together, which infringes on your freedom, right? We can't have all the cake and eat it too. Otherwise, we get the average American body mass index. Got him. We'll end there. It's pretty good. So, well, no, we won't end there. So the point is that, let's empathize with China. Let's look at, the United States has killed one could posit that they have killed more human beings than any other evil institution, or whatever, evil, whatever, not a very meaningful term, than any other institution of all time. One could posit this. China's doing a little genocide, it's not that bad compared to this, compared to ending, to extinction, right? Let's compare the numbers. All of humanity, a little bit less than that. The one is better than the other. So, what's your point? I don't know. I'm just saying that the emphasis on AI is warranted. Humanity is currently obsessed with it. Most of humanity, not the US, is obsessed with it because it will be the singularity. It will end sort of the reign of humanity and will start the reign of machines. And this is potentially very good. Very, very, very good. I think I'm going to do a discussion soon on, get ready for this transition, a super orgasm due to a amputation a military guy had because of an IED, which allowed his brain to take over the nerves where his leg would be to have orgasms there. So he could experience a super orgasm, where instead of sort of in his gonads, literally, having just an orgasm there, it was literally also along his entire leg that wasn't there. So, point being that our ability to experience pleasure and pain, let's be aware of that as well, is pretty small at the moment, and there is precedent that it could increase. To put this in a more friendly, for the whole family context, the C.S. Lewis, we're playing in mud pies, meanwhile we're offered a day at the sea. Let's seize the day and become better. How do we do that? I don't know, but China and the US are big players, and well, they're both fucking shitty. But best of the bad options, we've said that a few times, and we'll continue to do so. Goodbye.